0 watching now. 0 likes.
You know, is what you have me on is a.
You're live.
You have me on your other iPhone.
You're live. You're on. You're live. You're live.
Okay.
We are getting ready to. I'm getting ready to interview a very charismatic individual, intriguing. She's also visually impaired, so I'm trying to wait a little while, see if I can get a couple of individuals who want to check me out. Her name is Nicole. She's the founder of what is known as rose-colored glasses. So we're not going to start the interview until I say so. So before I commence, you had any questions right quick? Because we on live on YouTube right now. What up, YouTube fans? What's up? You have any questions right quick, Nicole?
No, we're good.
Let me turn you up a little bit. Say it again.
We're good.
Okay. I guess we ready. You got your water and everything?
Got my water and everything. Got my glass of wine.
Oh, really? What you drink?
I'm drinking that Moscato, baby.
The Moscato?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're...
That cupcake Moscato.
So okay, you got a taste for... Okay. So off the cuff, are you a sports fanatic? Because I'm kind of depressed because my Tigers lost yesterday. Which I knew they were going to lose. You ever heard of Michigan State?
I have heard of Michigan State. I'm not a big basketball fan. I'm sort of a football fan, but my team never makes it to the playoffs, so whatever.
What team is that?
Pittsburgh Steelers. How about them Steelers, y'all?
I'm dead. So that's my cue to start the interview. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, for real. I've been Dallas Cowboy fan.
Oh my God. Cowgirl.
Welcome to the Parker Daniels Show. My name is Anthony Parker. I know y'all probably get tired of me saying my name is Anthony Parker, but I'll keep on saying it till I don't have to say it anymore. Today we have a very special guest, all the way from the great state of North Carolina. We have Nicole. She recently lost her sight about 4 years ago. Is that right, Nicole?
That's right.
Let me tell you some of her accomplishments. Okay, and now we're through. So, with that being said, they don't get the joke and you don't get it either. We're going to jump into the interview and talk with Nicole and just dig all into her privacy and find out what she's doing these days. I am very excited to have her here. So with that being said, I want you all to continue to hit that like button. Please hit the like button. It does no good for you just to check out the video and not hit the like button. Comment, send me some comments. I got some surprises coming up pretty soon that you're gonna really, really enjoy. I'm getting together now. I am notification bell, hit that too, and subscribe. So after saying all that, I want to welcome Nicole to the show. What's up, Nicole?
What's up, Anthony? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Now, since I've gotten you here, and there's a lot that we can discuss and talk about, you were in jail for how long?
I was what now?
You were in jail for how long?
Yeah, that part. We won't discuss that.
Anyway, tell us about your vision, how you lost it, and was there a cause for you losing your vision? That how that the doctors give you a big name and whatnot that you can't pronounce. Tell us about that.
So I have Peter's anomaly. It is a rare eye disease. It's not hereditary. It's one of those things that pops up. Well, with Peter's anomaly, I was very fortunate to have 39 years of sight, 2100, which is right at that limit where you cannot drive. But as far as getting around without a cane or guide dog, my vision was correctable by corrective lenses.
Okay. You say it is correctable or it was?
It was correctable by corrective lenses, yes.
So does that mean that you have lenses that you bought the corrected lenses in order to make your vision?
I did, to make sure that I could read and be able to write and get around without messing up my eyes even further. So thanks to a bunch of military doctors and God's blessings, I had 39 years of sight.
Okay, but what about now? Let's talk about now. Let's move on forward to how is it now?
So back in 2015, I had what they call a cornea transplant, where they will give me a donated cornea that matches up to my eye. Well, that transplant went well. However, because of the amount of surgeries that I've had since I was 3 months old to 5 years old, and then I had another major surgery at the age of 23 and a half, my eyes had so much, I guess, damage and wear and tear that when they went in to do the cornea transplant, I started bleeding behind the eye within the first month of me having it. So I had like my sight was it's so much improved. I was even reading like little print and everything. And a month later, I just started bleeding behind the eyes, and the doctors didn't know why. So once they figured out what was going on, and what had happened was I had my retinas, which is the little stem in the back of your eye, began to tear. So as the doctors tried to fix it, they fixed it one time and another piece would tear. They fixed it a second time, another piece would tear. And then the last surgery that I had in August of 2015, my retina just tore, and it left me with only little light perception, which means I can still tell that it's night and day. Sometimes if I'm outside, I can tell whether or not what a person's hair color is or what kind of shirt they're wearing. But once I walk indoors, the only thing I can see is lighting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That brings me to my next question: is how were you able to deal with the loss of your sight at such a later age? Because I lost my sight earlier in life, so I have no recollection of anything. But for those individuals who lost their sight later on in life, that's a big change. And I mean, I commend those individuals who were able to deal with it in the proper way. How have you been able to cope with it?
Well, it wasn't so much of coping because I was working at the time. I was married at the time. So it was, for me, it was survival. So my immediate reaction was to let the doctors know that I needed some, home management to come in and help me get started to my way to rehab. And then from me finishing up rehab, the blind rehab, everything just kind of took off. So I really, you know how people say that you have like downtime or you feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
I really didn't have that time. I was mostly in survival mode because I knew that no one was going to come in and take care of me. And I'm pretty sure that you've heard like people say, my family, my friends,
Right.
they all walked away from me.
Right.
And sometimes it does tear down people. But in my case, it was, you know what? Either I'm going to get out here and keep fighting, or I'm going to curl up in a corner and die. And I chose to fight.
Man, okay, that's what's up, and that's a lesson that a lot of people should take. A lot of visually impaired people, a lot of people who are not just visually impaired, but any type of impairment you have, to take heed to what Nicole has stated, to fight, because it's not the end of the world. Who has been your biggest supporters during your vision loss, or have you been receiving any support?
To be honest with you, my biggest supporter was a coworker that I used to work with when I worked on the base for the exchange, and that is through a military contract. Her name is Kim, and she's been my biggest supporter. I look up to her as like being a second mom. I mean, she was there to wipe my tears and say, you know what, you got this. So if I could say my biggest supporters, it would be her. And then my second biggest support would be from a group that I'm a part of called Band of Sister Sorority, which is BOSS for short. That's a local group here in North Carolina. It's a church-based group. And then I would have to say my Lions Club. My Lions Club, they took me under their wing last year, and they've been so supportive of me and doing, going out in the community and just reaching people who don't know very much about blindness and showing them that there is life after blindness.
Okay. Do you think it's important to have support? And this might be a rhetorical question. When going through something like this, as far as vision loss or anything of that capacity, you think it's important to have support?
It is very important to have support. For those people who don't have it, I urge you to reach out to your local churches, because where one person will not support you, guess what? There are three people who will. And you just have to kind of put yourself out there. I know it might seem scary, because I'm not going to lie. One of the things that I build myself on is no fear. If I let fear control my life, then I will stop going. So what I do is the things that I'm afraid of and that I feel like I can't master, then guess what? If I'm afraid of it, I'm going to do it because I'm afraid of it.
Okay.
So you got to kind of have that attitude.
Okay. Now, speaking of things that are speaking of afraid, because I know when people lose their sight, they tend to be afraid of doing certain things, going around, moving around, this and that, and the third. How has it been as far as your mobility skills and maneuvering, and just making everyday life seems easy? And that's one part. And the second part, what method of usage have you chosen in order to make your travels and your mobility much easier?
So one of the things I'd like to bring out is when you first start, everybody has started with a cane. I had to learn how to cross streets without having 6 heart attacks. I had to be able to use, direction and use things like the sun, my hearing, my sense of smell, my sense of touch with my feet, sounds around me. So you have to be very aware of those things. And so I did 8 months of using the cane. And then I got my first guide dog right after I finished rehab. I finished rehab in November of 2016, and I was on the plane going to New York in 2017 to get my now first guide dog. Okay. And he has been very instrumental in helping my mobility.
Okay. Recently, I had done some segments on guide dogs versus canes, and I've spoken to various people, and they've given me their reason as to why they've chosen guide dogs and why they've chosen canes. And I'm going to ask you that particular question. What was the reason for you choosing a guide dog, and why, briefly?
So I noticed when I use the cane, I tend to veer a little bit to the left. And, sometimes that could be dangerous, especially when you're crossing streets. You may we call it extend yourself. Oh. And you might get off track just a little bit. So instead of hitting that down curve or up curve, you might hit just the up curve instead of like hitting a ramp or making a smoother transition. Plus, I've had some situations where I have been doing mobility with a cane crossing a street, and all of a sudden somebody might throw on their siren. And any blind person knows that if you have louder sounds than what the actual traffic is, it blocks out your hearing, and that can be extremely scary and difficult for you to handle. So me choosing to get a guide dog was to give me an extra set of eyes without having an actual person to be there to assist me. So the dog will be my eyes, and things that he senses as danger, he will make sure that I stay out of danger.
You know what? That is that's a good answer, because I've talked with several people, as I mentioned, and that was never the one answer that had come up, and that definitely makes sense. And I wanted to retract and ask you about using your cane. You say you veered off to the left a lot?
Yes, I do.
Were you by any chance listening to Beyonce a lot? Because she had a song out and she was talking about.
Oh my goodness! So I just don't know how to walk a straight line.
Just thought I'd break that ice. But yeah, that was a good answer. I mean, I never really I use a cane, but I never really thought about that. And then since the emergence of Ira and all these other apps and whatnot, a lot of people tend to think that having a guide dog is becoming obsolete. What do you say to that?
I don't think so because for me, my guide dog, he's more than just my eyes. He's also a companion. He's also what they call my comfort animal. He's also, the one that when I'm not feeling it for that day, that's the one I snuggle up to and be like, you know what, Pooh, we had a bad day. And these dogs, once you bond with these dogs will do the funniest things to actually make you laugh and, kill you with kindness because their love is unconditional.
Yep.
So, they're just not just our eyes. They are so much more to us.
Okay, that is definitely true. I've had a dog before. It wasn't a guide dog; it was a Rottweiler, and I really loved that dog, and she really looked out for me and whatnot. And she ended up passing away, and that was like, man, one of the points of my life. I really, it really kind of, bothered me a great deal. So, and they definitely they give you love and unconditional. You definitely have a bad day and come mess with your dog, and everything will be okay. But
Right.
I want to ask you, what keeps you motivated throughout the whole process? Like after losing your sight and at a later age in life, what's keeping you to be motivated? Because a lot of people can't really deal with the situation. They'll end up being becoming introverts or retrieving or retracting back into their houses or whatever, and just not really want to do anything. Just go as far as they can go within their barrier, and then not focus on anything else. What's keeping you motivated?
Because I want to do things that changes the world. I want to make sure that when things get rough, that I be that example for people who are, going through the same thing as I do, losing their sight, later in life. I don't want to be that person who, gives up at a drop of a dime. I've always been a fighter from the time I was, five years old all the way up to now. It's like if somebody told me I couldn't do something, guess what? I'm gonna do it just to prove you wrong.
Okay.
So
that's good. Since we talk about the things that you've done, such as the accomplishments, we briefly touched on those. Let's focus more on those particular accomplishments, such as the Red Cross you worked for. You work for Vision Resource. You work for a mini center instructor, or you are a mini center instructor. Tell us about those. Tell us about those particular activities and places that you work.
So for the Red Cross, I was actually here, our local Red Cross here. I was actually an intake specialist and also an engagement specialist. And what that means is I was responsible for looking at people's volunteer applications and placing them in the correct departments within the Red Cross. And a lot of people, when you say Red Cross, you always think disaster. But, oh, my God, they do so much more. So we don't have time to say what all they do.
Mm-hmm.
But an engagement specialist is like if you have a volunteer who they were real active at first, and for whatever reason, either they got sick and they just felt like, oh, well, they don't want me back because I didn't. It was my job to kind of reach out to them and say, hey, how's everything? What can we do to get you to start volunteering again? And a lot of times I got over a 50% volunteer re-engagement. So that was a really good job for me. I got to meet a whole bunch of people from all different kinds of life, walks of life, and I really enjoyed that.
And this was before you lost your sight, or after?
This was after I lost my sight.
Okay, go ahead.
As far as the Vision Resource Center, I was their office manager. I was responsible for getting other people with disabilities like mine, visually impaired and or blind, making sure that they had a way to the different activities that was sponsored by that recreation center. So I did all that from using software called NVDA
Yep.
and the platform Google Sheets or Google Drive. So for you guys who are tech nerds, Google Drive. And as far as the mini center question, I was a mini center instructor. I instructed people who were blind and visually impaired like myself how to do mobility skills, how to cook, how to clean, how to groom themselves properly. I talked to them about, the guide dogs, the different technologies and apps that are out there. I taught people how to use their iPhones and iPads, and I also taught Android. I did a lot of AT work for them. I still do a little bit of AT on the side. And it was a really interesting experience because you don't know how much encouragement that my clients got from me from seeing someone who is blind and out here doing it, riding in the bus system, out here taking Uber, out here doing Lyft, out here living on their own, passing inspections, being able to cook and clean without hesitation. And I encourage a lot of people who had done these things in over 5 to 10 years to re-engage and take their life back.
Yep, that's important. I appreciate that information. And I mean, to think, man, you've done a lot. I mean, this is all after you lost your sight. But even before you lost your sight, you were administrator for assistant for the exchange, dealing with the military. And
yes, I was.
Currently, you're a speaker coordinator for the Lions Club. Briefly, tell us about the working for the military. What did you do there?
So I had several different hats with the military. Some of it I cannot say because of security reasons.
Right.
But I did a lot in the supply. On the supply side, I did a lot with the communication side, and I've also done a lot with retail.
Okay.
So we did, I spent majority of my life working for the military, and I enjoyed it. Oh my God, I enjoyed it.
Okay. And briefly, just tell us what you're currently doing now, working for the Lions Club.
So what I do now, working for our local community Lions Club, is I'm a speaker coordinator, which that allows me to get speakers and have them come out and share what they do in the community and how the Lions can assist, and also how we as a Lions Club, what we do to assist the community. So that's what I do. I make appointments and schedules for them, and I submit that to the vice president and the president, as well as our treasurer.
Okay.
So I just received this honor about maybe 2 months ago. So everything has been going well. Matter of fact, for those of you who happen to know about the Lions Club, we have a speaker talking about diabetes, because Lions Club supports diabetes, lupus, and also blindness, because those are things that attack the body that causes blindness. So y'all, if you haven't got involved with your local Lions Club, I suggest that you do, because there's so much you can do for your community.
Now, lastly, you created a group on Facebook, and I want you to tell us about it and give us the name and what was the purpose for creating this particular group, and what do you hope to really accomplish?
Okay, so when I was going through rehab, I was really surprised at the amount of people who just felt like they were alone. And I happened to be listening to a podcast, and hopefully I won't get in trouble, Snap Judgment. And they were doing a podcast about rose-colored glasses, and that is the name I named my group. And basically what the rose-colored glasses means is seeing things through a different perspective, or seeing things through a different point of view. So what I wanted to do was, since I just lost my sight, guess what? I'm seeing things through a different point of view. So now I'm going to be able to assist someone who is going through some things with a no judgment zone for them to come in and talk about their ideas, the technologies they're up on, if they're having a bad day, to get encouragement. So my group is a support group, and if you guys are interested, it is Rose Colored Glasses. You can find us on Facebook. Just type in Rose, ROSE, Color, COLOR, Glasses, GLASSES.
Okay. And for the record, I want to clarify. You mentioned rehab a couple of times. I don't want people to think that, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I want you to clarify the rehab that you were referring to.
Okay, so when you are a newly blind person, they send you to the rehab center for the blind. And what they do is they take you, for me, because I already did things like cooking, cleaning, laundry, and all those things that a person would do at sight, what they did was they taught me better techniques on how to do those things. They introduced me to new technology like the iPad, the iPhone, the Android, which I already had, but there was no one to teach me Android. The lady just kind of handed me the phone and was like, you know what, here's your Android, I could cut it on. But I taught myself. So that's how I was able to come in here in my town and be able to teach it, because I literally started from ground zero and worked my way up. So once, they showed me how to go and use these screen reader softwares like Dr. Windows, NVDA, Fusion, Windows Eyes, all that good old stuff, to be able to go onto these websites and apply for jobs. And they also taught me, how to have, it's like therapy, because you're around other people like yourself. Mm-hmm. So it gave me a sense of, you know what, this is what I want to, this is a great time for me being a blind person. There's all this technology out here. There's all these different things, like you were talking about earlier, IRA and eSight, and it's just been really, really good at this point to be someone out here who is blind. So you have no excuses. You have not because you ask not.
Okay, well, we're gonna slowly end it on that. I just want to say I like what you said about this. This is a great time to be blind, because really and truly, just sit back and think about it. It really is, because there are so many things out there that are offered. So there's no need for anyone to feel left out unless you want to be left out. So with that being said, give us a minute of your conclusion in terms of wrapping it up and letting everybody know what you're doing, what you plan on doing, and once again mention your group and tell everyone why they should subscribe to the Parker Daniels show.
Okay, so and to wrap it up, guys, I know that a lot of you feel like that you've been kind of not being able to choose, whether I want to go to college or whether I want to enter the workforce. I urge all of you guys to, step out of your box, step out of your comfort zone, because you never know what's out here if you do not try. Again, you have not because you ask not. And you can do it. I have no doubt in my mind. It may take you longer than the next person, but hey, if it takes you longer, that means that you're going to get it right and do it right the first time. And as far as the group Rose Colored Glasses, you guys, like I said, you can find us on Facebook. We are a closed group, no judgment zone. And I want to send a very, very special thank you to my boy, Anthony Parker, inviting me to your show, the Parker Daniels show. No problem. You guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell, hit that notification, because he's really trying to come out here and show the world that it's a great time for being blind, and that you can do this. So, love you guys.
Thank you. We love you, and definitely y'all check out her on Rose Colored Glasses on Facebook. So with that being said, Nicole, I want to thank you for coming to the show. Enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget, y'all, I got some surprises coming up. And I wanted to go live because she had a lot to say. Couldn't fit it all in 15, 20 minutes. I just want to stretch it on out. And that's what I do. I like to stretch it out. So, Nicole, thank you. and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, boo. Bye. Parker Daniel Show, baby. When we make changes, no excuses.
Welcome to the chat. Remember, 0 watching now. 0.